Now, when James Gunn announced the DCU, we found out video games were going to be part of the bigger picture, which got a lot of fans excited. Now, how this ties into the storyline is currently unknown, but now the head of interactive entertainment over at Warner Brothers has given us an update, and honestly, I think this is a pretty solid plan moving forward. Big hint, everything will not be connected. Let's break it down. Now, before we do that though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are in the know. Well, as many of you know, one of the more interesting things James Gunn has brought to the table at the new DCU is not only including film and television in his grander world, but also video games. Now, we know everything DC related won't be tied into his world, but the larger, grander plan definitely is. Now, recently, the team over at Variety sat down with David Habdid, president of Warner Brothers Interactive, and JB Perrette, CEO of Worldwide Streaming, and more importantly, gaming at WB. And they talked a little bit about their video game plans, particularly as it relates to DC Studios co-chair James Gunn's massive interconnected plan. Now, as many of you remember, Gunn stated that his vision for DC Studios included all these medians, with actors playing the same characters across them all. And this has led many fans to asking a particular question about future DC games. Does James Gunn's statement mean that every DC Comics title from Warner Brothers after Superman Legacy will be tied into the DCU? This is pretty much the question everybody has also had about animation. Now, according to Perrette, not exactly. When talking to Variety, he said, "Frankly, there hasn't been a close relationship between the studio and the games business as there should be, and James is actually a gamer, so having somebody who's passionate about it is super helpful." While they're working on the Superman movie title, we're not going to launch a Superman game purely because we feel obligated. We have to do something that makes sense for gaming strategy and for fans and for the consumer. Now, this doesn't mean they're not already working with Gunn and Safran, because he made it pretty clear that they are actively working with Gunn and Safran on the core franchises within the DC universe. Now, what this says to me is that we probably shouldn't anticipate a new DC video game with every DC film, and honestly, this is probably a good thing. In the past, we've had lots of video games tied directly to superhero projects to kind of prop them up, and honestly, not many of them have been really big hits. Remember, back in 2002, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man got a game, we got one for X-Men Origins, and also Captain America. And you might not remember a lot of these games because honestly, I don't think any of them did very well. Now, what's this mean for us? Well, what it does mean for us is that the games that they are going to bring are a little more thought out than we have to make a new game because we have a new movie. I can't imagine a gaming studio being able to keep up with movie production and still produce quality content. This would mean almost an assembly line process, churning out new games, which honestly would probably not be very good and leave fans a little wanting. This would more than likely put a little bit of an anchor on the rest of the DCU, and there's really no reason to do that. Now, on the upside, it does sound like they're taking development of these games seriously, and when you think about the core franchises that are going to be within the DCU, well, I think that's likely where we'll see most of the game development. If you remember correctly, James Gunn actually said there were going to be 5 pillars of the new DCU: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Harley Quinn. So those are the 5 characters I would look to have video games developed around them sometime in the near future, but it's clear to me that the team running Warner Brothers games is not rushing this process. Now, I also love the fact that there's passionate collaboration with James Gunn, who, being a gamer, really does have some insight on what fans probably want. Obviously, we don't have a lot of news on this yet, but we're going to follow these DC games pretty closely. Honestly, gaming is the future of most entertainment, and it seems like Warner Brothers, and now even Bob Iger, although that's for a different video, are really finally getting on board, and although we might be leaving an era of superhero movies, I think we're definitely entering an era of superhero gaming, but we're going to have to wait and see.